Pandemic Workplace. How We Learn to Be Citizens in the Office. By Ilana Gershon. Published by the University of Chicago Press. For Stuart Macaulay, who taught me about the contract in contractual sociality. And for Marilyn Strathern, who taught me about the sociality. Introduction. At some point in the week of March 9, 2020, people's daily lives in the United States changed dramatically. Throughout the country, governors and mayors began to recommend or order schools and businesses to stop meeting in person. Many people already knew that COVID-19 was spreading globally. Workers in call centers, factories, and hospitals told me that their friends in China, Korea, or France had already warned them that the virus was quite dangerous. Since January or February, relatives in Asia had been shipping masks to their families in the United States, and avid news followers had started to stock up on canned goods and toilet paper. Not everyone was responding to the threat before March. Some wanted to remain optimistic, remembering earlier diseases that stayed mainly on other shores, the bird flu, H1N1, Ebola, Zika, and so on. But for most U.S. Americans, the week of March 9th was a turning point, and they realized much was about to change. Maybe it was March 11th, the day that movie star Tom Hanks announced that he was infected, and the day that the NBA suspended its season. Or maybe it was March 13th, when many schools and universities shut down indefinitely, some promising to reopen after an extended spring break, others deciding then and there to go online until the fall. This was the week in which the United States started a grand social experiment that would continue for several years thereafter, changing how U.S. Americans worked and lived side by side, as so many tried collectively to stop the spread of the COVID-19 virus. One of the most significant things the pandemic changed was how U.S. Americans experienced work, not only their own workplaces, but also the stores, schools, and hospitals that were other people's workplaces. For this book, I talked to over 200 U.S. Americans about their experiences working during the pandemic. My interviewees included people working for larger corporations, for small family-owned businesses, for government, for nonprofits, and some who were self-employed. They described how the practice of going to work had changed. The hours they worked now were often different than they had been before the pandemic. If they traveled to get to work rather than working from home, and I tried largely to talk to people who had to go to work in person, how often they went into work changed, as did their means of transit. I talked to a New Yorker who biked to work from Brooklyn to the Upper West Side to avoid the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?